Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, I will share with you 10 mistakes to avoid specifically when applying for U.S. naturalization. Mistake number 1. Failure to review your N-400 application form. Immigration officers usually ask several questions based on the applicant's N-400 information. So if your answer is inconsistent or different from the information which you've provided in your application, this could make you look suspicious, and the officer may examine you further or may even deny your application. Since you may have submitted your N-400 application months before your interview, there's a good possibility that you may not remember every single detail of what you wrote on it during your interview. So, to prevent this, you must spend some time reviewing, studying, and updating the copy of your Form N-400 application before your interview appointment, since most of the questions that the immigration officer will ask you refers to the information on your application. Mistake number 2. Not enough physical presence. To qualify for naturalization, a green card holder must have enough physical presence in the United States measured on a day-to-day basis. Your physical presence in the U.S. is an important requirement of citizenship. You will need to follow travel and residency requirements closely to avoid rejection of your application. Make sure that you have resided 30 of the past 60 months, 2.5 of the past 5 years in the U.S., or spent 18 of the last 36 months, 1.5 of the past 3 years living in the U.S. if you are married to a U.S. citizen, and taken no trips out of the U.S. lasting over 6 months. Unfortunately, some people come to us who miscalculated their physical presence in the United States before applying for naturalization, or they don't know how many days they spent outside the U.S. In most instances, these people end up having their naturalization case denied. So, we advise you to start making a travel log of all international travel once you become a green card holder. Mistake number 3. Break in continuous residence. Successful naturalization applicants must also have maintained continuous residence in the United States during the previous 5 or 3 years before applying. USCIS states that the concept of continuous residence involves the applicant maintaining a permanent dwelling place in the United States over the period required by the statute. Most green card holders start running into USCIS challenging their continuous residence in a naturalization case if they've been outside of the United States for longer than 6 months at a time while they've been a green card holder. If you've had an absence of more than 6 months at a time, you may have to present evidence to show you didn't have a break in your continuous residence in the United States. And that's something you likely want to consult a licensed immigration lawyer about to make sure you don't run into trouble. Mistake number 4. 3-month residency requirement. This is a sneaky, sensitive, or dishonest mistake, and one that many, if not most, naturalization applicants are not even aware of. Naturalization applicants must file their naturalization application in the state or service district that has jurisdiction over their place of residence, and the applicant must have lived in that location for at least 3 months before filing. And yes, this can result in a denial. There were some applicants who applied for naturalization and after as long as a year of waiting were denied because they hadn't met the 3-month residency requirement when filing. Mistake number 5. Fail civics or English exam. The civics exam consists of a simple 10-question exam about American politics and history. You must answer 6 questions correctly to pass this part. You will not know what questions the officer will ask, so you must learn 100 civics questions fully. When you carefully study the 100 questions of the US Citizenship test, this will help you prepare for the reading and writing test as well as the history and citizenship exam. The naturalization interview is conducted in English, and the English test usually consists of the USCIS officer asking the applicant to write a sentence said to them verbally, and to also read a sentence out loud that is given to them on paper. You have 3 opportunities to do this portion. In our experience, older naturalization applicants sometimes have difficulty passing the English examination. During the 5+ months that the naturalization application is pending, applicants with weak English skills should study and practice to strengthen their English. Mistake number 6. Failure to show good moral character. Naturalization applicants must show that they have been a person of good moral character during the 5 years before their application. Volumes of books have been written by immigration scholars about what exactly good moral character means. Suffice it to say that any misdemeanor or felony conviction within that 5-year period could be a barrier to a finding of a good moral character, meaning your application could be denied depending on the criminal case circumstances. When applying for naturalization, USCIS will obtain your biometrics and run a criminal background check. But USCIS is also interested in knowing if you have committed a crime in other countries as well. These factors contribute to meeting the good moral character requirement. Some crimes will permanently bar a permanent resident from U.S. citizenship, while other crimes create a temporary bar. If you have ever been convicted of a murder or aggravated felony, you will most likely be permanently denied U.S. citizenship. These are automatic bars, meaning the USCIS officer has no discretion in the matter. Aggravated felonies in immigration law can be defined somewhat differently than they are by state courts. Mistake number 7. Failure to meet financial obligations. Many Americans, including permanent residents, are experiencing financial problems that have resulted in foreclosure, bankruptcy, and unpaid debts. The good news is that debt alone is not a bar to naturalization. However, there are some financial issues that affect the moral character requirement and could interfere with your ability to naturalize as a U.S. citizen. Failure to pay taxes is a common reason to have a Form N-400 denied. If you let USCIS find this problem, you will likely be denied citizenship. Contact an immigration attorney and tax advisor that can help you develop a plan to pay the taxes and demonstrate to USCIS that you're fixing the problem. By addressing the problem, most people can continue the naturalization process and avoid an N-400 denial. Another common issue for N-400 applicants is the willful failure to support dependents. If an applicant for naturalization has a minor child or children who do not live with the applicant, it is necessary to prove that the applicant is providing adequate financial support. If there is a court order of support, it's important to have evidence of compliance with that order. An applicant that fails to make timely child support payments could have the Form N-400 denied. Mistake number 8. Fraud and lying to USCIS. If USCIS believes that your answer to a question is deceptive or untrue, your application for naturalization will be delayed and could be denied. It doesn't matter if the error was innocent. You must make sure that your application for naturalization is true and accurate when filed. If the information is difficult to obtain and you cannot obtain it, for example, travel history, you must make a reasonable effort to find the answer. During the naturalization process, USCIS will review your history. If the officer determines that a green card was issued, even many years before, in a fraudulent manner, citizenship may be denied. Likewise, other situations, new or old, that put the applicant's good moral character in question will hold up the process. Be honest with your answers. If you feel that an honest answer may create a problem with naturalization, that's a good indicator that you need to speak to an attorney before filing Form N-400. Mistake number 9. Not bringing the originals and supporting documents. When you show up for your interview, you must be ready to provide the originals and certified copies of your documentation as evidence if the officer asks for it. Providing the important documentation is one of the major reasons why they call you for an interview at the USCIS office. So the immigration officers will usually ask to see the originals of the copies you're submitting with your N-400 application. Failure to bring the originals, certified copies, and other supporting documents may result in having your interview postponed or rescheduled, which could unnecessarily delay the processing of your U.S. citizenship. This could even give a negative impression to the interviewing officer. So, in the worst case, the officer may even deny your application. So, to avoid this mistake, make sure to gather and prepare all your necessary documents early on. Keeping your documentation well organized means you are well prepared, and it could leave a positive impression on the immigration officer. Mistake number 10. Arriving late for your interview. If your name is called and you do not appear at the time of your interview appointment, the immigration officer assigned to interview you may consider that you have abandoned your application. So, unless you can provide a valid reason, your application may be denied and you will have to file a new application. On the other hand, if your reason has been accepted and the officer decides to reschedule your interview, this could also delay your naturalization because it takes several months to do this process. So, to avoid this problem, be sure to arrive at least 15 to 20 minutes before your scheduled appointment so you will have enough time to park your car and go through a security check upon entering the USCIS office. Additional information. U.S. citizenship is perhaps the greatest benefit any immigrant can receive. It is often the pinnacle of a long journey over many years and many miles. Over 2.2 million permanent residents have naturalized as U.S. citizens in the past 3 years, from 2019 to 2021. However, during the same period, over 240,000 permanent residents had their Form N-400 application for naturalization denied. In fact, the number of denials increased in every quarter of fiscal year 2021. The denial rate held steady. USCIS denies approximately 9.5% of all applications. In 2022, almost 14% of all citizenship applications received resulted in a denial. This rate of denial was about the same a decade ago, 13% in 2009, and fell briefly in the last few years, but following the pandemic, it rose sharply again. Becoming a U.S. citizen is much harder in some places than others. There are many reasons for this. We've compiled a list of the 10 most common reasons for continuation or denial of a Form N-400 application in this video. I hope that this video is helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Good luck, everyone.